This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
And still keeping with the conversations this morning, we turn to development conversations where the president has signed bills legally establishing the South-South and Southwest Development Commissions. This means that all 6 geopolitical zones in the country now have dedicated commissions focused on meeting regional development needs. Joining the conversation is Femi Adebayo, the head of research and programs at Impact Development. Mr. Adebayo, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning, dear listeners.
Mr. Adebayo, what are your expectations of these 2 new commissions?
Yeah, firstly, I think it's highly commendable to have, and it is in the spirit of being equitable, being fair, for the president to actually ensure that all of the region, the geopolitical zone, has its own development commission. That's very, very important. Now, to your question regarding my expectations, I think as the name implies, Development Commission, my expectation is that this commission, especially the Southwest, because I'm from the Southwest, and of course the South-South in itself, it's very, very important to say that the expectation is that we should ensure as much as possible, based on the provisions of the bill, that the mandate they are giving, especially in ensuring that infrastructural development, economic development, and growth is happening across the region. And I think it's also important to say that this time around, maybe technically, it's now a conversation of regionalism, because it then means that maybe the president, I'm not sure, I'm not in his head, I'm not part of his cabinet, is gradually restructuring Nigeria in its own way, because it then means that every region has a commission that is responsible regionally for the growth of the region, for the development of the region, and ensure that citizens' lives, in the real sense, a lot of things are provided for ease of making life comfortable and easy, or doing business and the like. So that would be my expectation. And of course, another expectation I would have is that, especially for this new development commission, it shouldn't be a pipeline for corruption, as we've seen with the other commissions that have been existing before now. We all know what happened with the NDTC. I think it's not news; it's of public knowledge. And it's very important to say that it's very sacrosanct that this development commission does not become a pipeline for corruption.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, please go ahead.
Mr. Adebayo, interesting. If we look at the comments that were made by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, he says that there is no mechanism that is too much to trickle down development and the dividends of democracy to the grassroots. It's part of what he's using to, if you like, justify the establishment of these commissions. But if we track back to the NDDC being the first of the regional commissions, we know that part of what drove the establishment was insecurity in the region. And in many ways, right, some experts agree that these were temporary measures, and after stability was returned, these are commissions that should have by and large just wound down their operations and allowed the subnationals to carry on. But now that we have every region having one, it begs the question of whether or not we're keeping in focus some sort of short-term mandate for these commissions and returning, again, just re-establishing that the power for development should lie with the subnationals.
Yeah, I completely understand your point. The fact that it's very important to say that when we're devolving power, it shouldn't be also in the hands of the federal agency. Some have also argued that development commission that are handled by federal agency does not really represent regionalism. So I quite understand what you're saying. And speaking directly to the comments of the Deputy Speaker, that is really talking around, there is no much of tool that is too much to ensure that power or resources are devolved to the subnational. Yeah, I quite understand. But, in Nigeria, one of the most interesting part of us is how we love to duplicate things, how we love to create something new and not necessarily republishing or restructuring the existing structure or solving the problem with the existing structure. So these are some of the challenges, and I completely agree that maybe we do not necessarily need all of this commission. But as it stands today, that is the mechanism that the government has put in place to ensure that all of development are going around the region. And I think we must embrace it, and we must get the best out of it. That will be my position. And maybe technically I'm also agreeing with the Deputy Speaker, but in the real sense, I think the most important part is, and which is very important, is that this commission should be ensured. There should be an oversight mechanism, either from the Legislative House, either judicial oversight, either legislative oversight, to ensure it's not a pipeline for corruption. Because at the end of the day, we'll come back to the circle that development is not happening the way it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, the existing structure did not have a massive problem other than corrupt practices. The existing structure did not have any issue other than the fact that political will to do the needful for the Nigerian people, either by the state government or the sub-national government. These are some of the challenges, but if we don't tackle the challenges with the Development Commission, we will still continue to march in circles, as going around vicious circles. That's the way it is. So for me, I think the primary conversation should really center on corruption and the nature of the Nigerian government. So, Mr.
Adebayo, my apologies for interrupting you. You have mentioned corruption quite a lot in your responses to these commissions. I wonder if you can quickly tell us, as we round the conversation, whether there has been enough of a deterrent to corrupt practices so far.
Well, I think obviously not. It's obvious to the blind. Permit me using that word loosely. That in Nigeria, as it stands today, one of the major things we grapple with is the culture of impunity at every front, right? Look at what is happening in the Nigerian Senate. Look at what is happening in the National Assembly. And all of this corruption did not necessarily talk about fiscal corruption. Even the moral decadence is a major challenges, right? So for me, when it comes to the fight against corruption, most especially in this administration, permit me, I would say, it hasn't been top-notch in the real sense. The body language of the administration, or generally the Nigerian government, has not really been very, very uptight when it comes to, deterrent against corrupt practices. You've seen selective probe towards corrupt practices in the country. We've seen EFCC not even getting the desired, the desired, or possibly being selective in their approaches and all. So all of these things are concerns, and I think if we want to even grow as a nation, as a people, we need to take care of, number one, corrupt practices, number two, the moral decadence in the political structure, and also the society.
Right. Well, Mr. Adebayo, thank you very much for your time on this conversation. Femi Adebayo is the head of research and programs at Impact Development. He joined us this morning to speak on the president signing bills that legally establish the South, South and Southwest Development Commissions into law.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.